Welcome to Restless, both merry and bright. Is Die Hard a Christmas sermon? We'll discuss tonight. With jingle bells and action thrills, we'll debate with cheer if this classic film spreads Christmas joy or holiday fear. So grab your eggnog, settle in for the fun, as we explore if McClane's tale is a Christmas sermon on the 12 Days of Restless Day 1.
Pastor Michael, on the first day of Restless, I gave you some cringe Christmas service material. Are you ready?
Let's do it.
So, Pastor Michael, this year we will not be trying to find simply just the worst of what has been shared of Christmas services online, because every day I see something, I go, no. Every day it's worse. Every day I can't believe it, to the point that I'm like, there's no way to rate this. There's no way for me to feel bad about this. So we're going to just have to pick my favorite of the bad. Pastor Michael, do you remember about 8 years ago when it was really cool to have this debate? Hey, is Die Hard a Christmas movie? Do you remember when that was a really fun debate to have with people online?
It was a really funny meme 10 years ago.
It was really, it was like a really like that. It was kind of like a cool, like, you know, when you didn't have enough taste just to say that your favorite Christmas movie was The Muppets Christmas Carol. Like, it was really fun to be like, you know, no, my favorite, especially if you're a guy in college and your grandma asked you, is it's Die Hard. That was a really cool thing you did. Now, what if today in 2024, a church made it their Christmas service instead?
Oh, no.
How would you feel?
Oh, no.
A Die Hard themed Christmas service in 2024.
Hey, can I just stop right now? A man goes after his estranged wife and has to be willing to lay down his life for her. What does that sound like, Matt?
Oh, I mean,
what does that sound like to you?
Bleeds along the way. He's cut. He's, you know, he has to give himself up. Oh, Pastor Michael, I don't think you're thinking low enough. By the way, I just want everyone to know the 12 Days of Restless is brought to you by soap that will still be legal after January 20th. SpindlesandScarlet.com, promo code Restless for 10% off soap that will still be legal when we are making America healthy again. Pastor Michael, tell us a little bit about this soap that is sponsoring the 12 Days of Restless.
It's the best. It works great. My wife makes it. She does a really phenomenal job. It is high quality. It's aesthetically pleasing. It is made from all healthy ingredients. It's good for you. It's good for your family. It will not harm your skin. So go ahead and pick some up. Seriously, go look at it. And I think just looking at the pictures on the website, you'll be like, wow, maybe we should get some of that, because it really is a beautiful product. And far more than that, honestly, the reason she started to do it is because it works great and it doesn't cause a lot of the problems that a lot of the typical modern soaps do, drying out your skin, causing a lot of other problems, using all kinds of different toxins and things like that.
I can say I am a happy user of it and will have to get more soon as I'm running low. So the 12 Days of Restless this year is brought to you by soap. You filthy animals. So let's get down to Die Hard. So, Pastor Michael, do you think Die Hard is a Christmas movie? Is a movie that takes place during Christmas enough for you?
It's enough for me. It's not the same, right? It's not the same as It's a Wonderful Life.
Yeah, obvious. Yeah.
It's not the same as, you know, some of these. It's not the same as Home Alone 2, which we just watched the other day. My kid said, we want to watch a Christmas movie. I said, then we're going to watch the one with President Trump. He won the election. We're watching his movie. So we watch Home Alone 2.
Tell me because another really reasonable question, if you want to theme your church service in Die Hard, is the age appropriatedness of this, like, go home and watch a movie.
It is not at all. By the way, you should definitely filter it in some way or another. Definitely recommend filtering it in
Die Hard or Home Alone.
Die Hard.
Okay, yeah.
Home Alone, I think it's fine. It's got some, you know, like it's got some references that will generally go over kids' heads. that are maybe not, the most appropriate things, but it's not a horrible thing in my opinion. Now, I will say, I generally have uh, a higher tolerance, I guess, for the kinds of things I'll let my kids see than a
Sure.
lot of people I know, right? Like there are probably things I let my kids watch that there would be people listening to this that would say, I can't believe you let your kids watch that.
Yeah.
Not like, I don't know, name your like, I don't watch a lot of filthy things, right?
Right.
But I'm just saying there are probably some things with language in it or with some violence in it that I would let my kids watch that others might not.
Right.
So for instance, you have a lot of like rudeness
Yes.
in Home Alone and Home Alone 2.
It is.
But it's the kind of thing that actually is a great analogy because we can tell our kids, hey, the other day I used this, hey, don't be like Kevin. Remember how he's such a brat?
Yeah.
You're kind of being like Kevin right now. Don't do that. And it works really well.
Yeah. It is. It is. It is amazing. And I just wonder how it was reacted to at the time. It is amazing how truly dysfunctional that family is in both of those movies. Like it is
really
like
bad.
it's really bad. And I'm not even like the movie could be a movie where they don't leave their child twice, and I would still be like, this is a movie about a horribly dysfunctional family.
Yep.
So
And better believe we talk about that, by the way.
Yeah.
We talk about that as a family. Should they be doing that? Is this how they should act? Is this how Kevin should act? Is this how his parents should be?
Yeah.
Like, is this?
And the best news would be if you were going to this megachurch, Pastor Michael, on the way home, you could talk about, is Die Hard the way things should be? Should that guy who does a giant thing of cocaine, should he really die along the way? Like, is the assault on Nakatomi Plaza, like, how should the Christian worldview inform our thinking on that?
Is the tagline that is just cussing? Is that good for church?
What do you think the likelihood this megachurch pastor tries to find a way to
No, I was gonna make a joke. I was trying to think of a way I could say yippee yay and something, but I can't even think of something. And I really hate that you're gonna show me a video where somebody probably tries.
Here we go.
No.
Come to the coast. We'll get together. Let's have a few laughs. Hey, let's be really clear about something. Die Hard is a Christmas movie, okay? It's a Christmas movie.
Dude, this guy slaying at a holiday party in 2014.
He does look the part. Like, they did a good job with the makeup and everything. At first, while the light was still coming up, I thought this was just like a clip and then it was going to start the service or something. But this is the pastor.
This is the pastor of the church.
And this is how you know, by the way, that this joke is at least 10 years old.
That's right.
Is that a mega church is now performing it.
There's a Christmas tree in it, for starters. You got a guy fighting for his family. God fights for his family of God. You got a guy who's willing to lay his life down for his family. That's John McClane or Jesus.
No.
They're not even trying. Just like the laziest. Jesus or John McClane, you get it.
Who likes this stuff? How is this a mega church?
I don't know.
Going to these things?
I don't know. It's
crazy.
Like, people are like, we've turned worship entertainment into entertainment. I grant that has been tried. I don't know how anyone finds it entertaining is the problem.
Oh, right. You're bad at the entertaining part.
A guy who's had some real bumps and bruises in his life that can't quite put it together. That's the way a lot of us are. So we're going to look at that today. Yippee-ki-yay!
He's smoking.
They play the Beastie Boys at church.
Man, God bless America. Smoking in church, oh, how good it is. Only because John McClane did. That's enough of that. Well, one more. Anyway, Yes. We are looking.
Just so everyone who is listening to this audio, a man just jumped out of a wall in a wife beater, a la John McClane, lit up a probably fake cig because that's the only thing he couldn't do because that would be offensive, and that was the pastoral greeting you just heard. God bless America, smoke it in church only because John McClane did. You know, this is the word of the Lord. Thanks be to God. Like, that is what's happening right now at this church. Pastor Michael, this is, when can we say, so I have said that we've said this kind of thing a little bit on this show, that I think evangelicalism is in many ways another religion. I think what I'm actually trying to say is this form of evangelicalism is not Protestant, that it is no longer Protestant. It does not have anything to do with our practice of faith. And that to a degree in America, the distinction Catholic Protestant is no longer helpful. But I've realized this is also how the reformers had to speak when they were trying to reform the church and the Catholics were accusing them. And they started using the term Anabaptist to say, the thing we're doing, they're not that.
Yep.
That's not what we are. That is how I feel about this.
Yep.
All of
this is
that.
not anything like us. This is not, like you're saying, I have trouble believing this is in any way religious even.
I mean, you heard how hard he tried. He's like, a guy gives up a lot for his family. We all have had bumps and bruises and struggle to get life together. That's what our sermon's about today.
He didn't even say John McClane, who is like a Christ figure. He said John McClane, Jesus Christ. Like, that's what he said.
Yeah. Yeah. So this is what I'm saying is I want us to, over time, come up with we need to talk a little bit about Protestantism to how to make clear how we're excising this from it. To make sure everyone, this isn't part of and I'm willing to be generous like John Calvin. John Calvin, you can marry a woman from one of these churches, men. You just have to get her out of it. She just has to come join us in Geneva, homies. And if she's watching this, I mean, you can say we can watch Die Hard Christmas Eve, when kids go to bed. So anyways, let's watch, maybe Pastor Michael, let's be generous. Maybe that yippee-ki-yay, maybe all of that was, maybe he's going to make that horrible let's get serious moment come.
Looking at the spiritual ramifications of Die Hard.
By the way, if you are at a church and a sermon recently was, we are looking at the spiritual ramifications of Die Hard, I feel very confident in telling you to find a new church. That is unimaginably lame. That is, I can't imagine something so unedifying given God's holy word is available to you. just to be clear.
Believe it or not, there's a lot in it, and we're going to look at them today.
There's so much to exegete in Die Hard, Pastor Mike.
Oh, man. It just, you gotta, it makes you want to burn all this kind of stuff down.
Yes.
Burn it all down.
That's why I am not going to relent. This is not the same religion. This is not what I'm doing.
It's not right.
And when someone says, I'm considering becoming Roman Catholic or Eastern Orthodox, and they're like, well, look at what's happening here. I'm like, nope, that's not Protestantism. Yep. I don't know what they're converting to Roman Catholicism from. I need to come up with a name for it. That was the helpful thing the reformers did. They named Anabaptists. Yep. I don't know what this is, but actually today I will do a giveaway. I will buy someone a sampler pack of the soap that is bringing to you the 12 Days of Restless. I will be buying you a sampler pack of soap to the person who recommends to me the best name for what we should call this worshiptainment sect of externalism. And it's not Big Eva, because that's not a good definition. We'll come back to that another time when we explain in the new year what Big Eva is, Medieval.
No, but something similar to this is like the Anabaptists.
Yes.
As opposed to the Protestant reformers,
That-
what would this be
Yes.
in that context?
Tongue in cheek is going to help you make it to the top, just so you know. All right, we got another minute. Well, we got about a minute here, Pastor Michael.
But in case you just sort of aren't aware of what's happening, this will give you a little bit of recap or pre-cap of what Die Hard the movie looks like.
So just to be clear, here's the other reason you shouldn't do this. So if you haven't seen Die Hard, it's gonna be hard for me to preach Die Hard to you. It's even worse.
Oh no, it's just horrible. I also just keep thinking this is one of those things that clearly you can only do because you don't have kids in there at all. Like there's just an assumption. Obviously kids won't be here. So let's talk about this very rated R movie as our text today.
And so the kids are going to be doing like how Buddy the Elf really understands who Jesus is. They're going to be doing something just as bad. But
oh, it's bad, right? No doubt, it's bad.
But yeah, I mean, like again, the in case you don't know, it just is so. It's so obtuse. It is just so obtuse.
How is this a real thing?
I don't know. I don't know how it's a. I mean, it's an Yeah.
It's literally just a recap of the movie.
He's getting clips.
They're showing a recap of this hard R-rated movie. Oh boy!
Skip all the plot. Just a lot of gunfire. Just imagine this. Imagine the Peanuts movie instead. You know, the great Peanuts Christmas special. Charlie Brown is breaking down because he thinks Christmas is too commercialized. He doesn't want to direct that play. And he goes, I just wish I knew what Christmas was about. And imagine Linus says, John McClane really gets I need the spotlight. And he gets, John McClane really didn't like to fly in planes, but he was still flying to LA at Christmas. And he starts recapping this. It was Christmas.
And a guy taught him how to walk around with his toes crumpled up. And that's important because later on, he's going to take off his socks and walk around, but then he's not going to have socks or shoes on.
He's not going to have shoes. Put a pin in that. You're going to need to come back. Also put a pin into like, ho, 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 I've got a machine gun now. Charlie, don't you feel better about Christmas time? That helicopter blows up. You get the movie.
Trails, Hans.
So what do I call you?
Killing Hans Gruber.
Man, well,
let's recap. And by the way, they didn't even recap. That they literally showed some of the most maybe exciting parts of the movie. So explosions, people shooting guns, bad guys falling from the top of a tall building, but they didn't actually even recap. That's what that shows something of this mindset, by the way. Like, hey, just in case you don't even know what this is and you're going to need to know what it is to follow along, let me show you. And they don't even get that right.
No. But I think they did because the thing he's about to preach, which we are obviously not going to watch the whole thing, is so generic. He just needs you to know pretty brutal action movie. Stuff is happening.
Yep, that's it.
That's all. He's about to preach a text. Stuff is happening.
Good guys, don't look at explosions.
Stuff
that's it.
In your life is hard. Jesus. That is going to be the sermon. If you ever have a day this bad, you can say yippee-ki-yay with Jesus.
I bet if we listen to it, what you just did is a better sermon, Matt.
I mean, I can't help it. I try and fix things. So he's got 30 seconds, to transition. And he's barefoot, by the way. He is barefoot, Pastor Michael, because of course, oh man, so bad.
Next service, bring some mouthwash. I got to remember that. Got to remember that next time. I don't know if you've seen Die Hard before. If you have, maybe you forgot about it. I watched it and getting ready for my talk today and hadn't watched the whole thing for many years.
He was so this even worse. This wasn't like if Pastor Michael told me I have this wild
He
idea.
literally bought this from somewhere.
Yes.
He literally bought this from somewhere. And he just basically said that. Hey, by the way, even the movie we're doing this on, it wasn't like I had an epiphany watching this. Hey, this would make a great sermon.
Yes.
But we decided that I would do a sermon about Die Hard. And then I realized, oh, I should actually watch it sometime.
I was pretty uncomfortable watching it with my wife due to the nudity at points and it being a pretty hard R. I realized the marketing company didn't care about the church or Jesus or the morality of anything along the way. This is like the docent group, except even worse. Oh my goodness.
Let me just give you the recap of what is happening. John McClane is a guy who's separated, and he's on his way to LA.
Separated from what? What does that even mean? Even that, like, what are you talking about? Explain it, dude.
And the way he's explaining this movie, I'll come back to this. I'll give him the last 5 seconds of how he's explaining this.
When he goes there, there's a corporate function taking place at Christmas.
So let me say what he just did explaining it. And he obviously is going to go on to explain it. By the way, credit to Protestia, who, gets their kicks from screen grabbing churches that do these kinds of things. The way he's explaining it is the way a person would explain this if they didn't understand film or story. There was a man separated and he was attending a corporate event. You know what a corporate, like, no, not at all. You don't know how to, that's not how they set up the movie. They set up a nervous cop. It's a nervous cop on a plane flying out to try and save his marriage. That's how you set up the movie. Not, sometimes when you're at a corporate event, relatable. Terrorists take over.
Relatable to everybody here, am I right?
That's right. You've been to a corporate event, you be like, am I right? Giving QR code.
You're at one right now. Hey.
Exactly. You are at a miserable corporate event that we call church. I can't even tell you what the draw to this is. And I know there are thousands and thousands of people trapped in this. I don't know what the draw is.
I think for a lot of people, I actually do think, well, there's a lot of reasons, obviously. I think a lot of it is, well, my friends are here.
Sure.
I really think that's a lot of it. It's like, well, I met people here and it's like, okay. And the pastor's kind of funny sometimes. And also when your brain has been absolutely mushed by the typical like media, right? If you just engage in, you're just watching the nightly news and you're watching whatever the most famous celebrity is, you love that new movie that they were in. Like your brain is rotted. Right? Merry Restless Christmas, by the way, but like your brain is mush. You do not have the capacity to think anymore.
Yeah.
And so of course you go to this kind of thing and it's like bells and whistles. It's like, woo, woo. Yeah. Because you've lost the capacity to think like a person. Okay. That's what happens. This is what sin does, everybody.
Yeah.
It absolutely mushes your brain. And then you go to a mega church where a guy's dressed up like John McClane and he's going to preach from John McClane, from the Gospel of John McClane. And you're thinking, wow, how creative is this? But seriously, that's how bad sin is. Do you realize that? That is how bad it gets.
It's like, sir, do you drive? Do you operate a motorized vehicle? If your thought was, wow, this is really creative today, like this was a really.
There are people that are like, wow, that was really cool.
What percentage of the people there do you think are the like? I kind of just put up with this because at least I know my neighbors will come to this thing. Like, what percentage of the person there is like the kind of put upon, like, I mean,
I'm
I like
scared.
singing the
I'm scared
Hillsong.
that it's a small percentage,
Wow.
and that a lot of people at these things think, "Wow, this is actually really cool. Wow, I really want a CD of the worship band here."
Very creative. Very creative. I'd
Yeah,
assume.
wow, they're so good. They're so impressive. No, I'm worried that it's not a lot of people
Yeah.
because I am being a little fun and facetious with it, but I'm not kidding that the kind of cultural formation that most people get and the mind formation that most people get in the typical education system through typical media, what you are getting is something that is designed to make you not think. It is designed that way. It is made to make you a cog in a machine that just smiles and claps your hands when somebody does a Die Hard series for church. Right? Like it is incredibly dystopian.
Yeah.
It's incredibly dystopian.
I agree. It is definitely dystopian. Here's even the problem is like, there's no way to steel man this, by the way. There's literally no way to steel.
No, there's not.
But the thing that the argument that is made is we're trying to reach people. We like our way of reaching people better than the Presbyterians' way of having no one come. Obviously, that's not even a steel man because obviously you're not reaching anyone. But the actual way you reach people with a Christmas Eve service or like these kinds of things where visitors come, which Pastor Michael has in the past on this show talked about, this is one of the best reasons to actually do some sort of seasonal observance in Christian liberty. But the actual thing is like when people show up on Christmas Eve, I mean, I'm reminded of the somewhat The Office quote from a Christmas episode, which would obviously be better than this, is where like Michael has done all these ridiculously themed Christmas and Stanley is like outraged at all the things they've done. And he's like, I don't want a Kwanzaa wreath. I don't want dreidels. I don't want that thing. I want Christmas. Plain baby Jesus lying in a manger Christmas. And he's like outraged and he's yelling about this. And I'm like, actually, yes, the thing people come looking for on Christmas Eve and the seasonal is they want the songs they want to sing, right? That they know, these famous Christmas hymns, and they want to hear the Christmas story. The thing that you actually reach them with is the cultural memory they have of Christianity. But what you have to do is obviously then you have to communicate to them why that's not enough, which Pastor Michael talked about in our last episode. I'm even thinking about our Christmas Eve text here, which will be, I guess by now I've already done, so I don't feel bad talking about it. Right, we're doing where Joseph is told about the birth.
It's a big reveal. You're like, I hope nobody knows ahead of time. Because
I'm just thinking about this. Like when in Matthew's gospel, Joseph learns of the news, right? Everything Joseph learns is secondhand, right? An angel is telling him all of these things are so, and it completely alters his plans because Joseph was an honorable man, didn't want to begin an adultery, a marriage out of adultery, all of these things. But he completely changes it with the announcement of the supernatural birth of Christ because he's going to die for the sins of the people and he's Emmanuel. What people need, right? I'm going to probably try and talk about very briefly, you and I, the great things the gospel writers do, and they do this all over. Why do they make the shepherd such a big deal? They're always making hearing the news is enough for it to make the same impact.
Yeah.
You are in the place they are. You are in the place Joseph is. And so it must make a seismic shift for you, right? You can have all the and so this is the thing that people need to hear. Like maybe the invitation to someone who just is coming to this is like, maybe the shift you need to make is if you actually think this is valuable, you need to come back next Sunday. You need to plan to attend church. You need to change Joseph changed his life, right? Whatever. You need to learn the forgiveness of your sins. Again, there's a million angles of it. But the thing they're coming for is the cultural memory of Christmas. And if you're saying cultural memory of Christmas, bye-bye, Die Hard. you failed the test. That like I came with my wife because we wanted to sing Joy to the World, and we sang a bunch of songs we've never heard of before by a band that's not good. And then we saw the worst recap of Die Hard we've ever seen in our lives. You know, like my non-believing neighbors would think this is dumb.
Right. And they're right.
They're right.
They are correct. They are closer to the kingdom.
Right.
Right? Like that's what's crazy about this.
Like Paul, like not even the pagans permit this sort of thing among them. Right. Not even the pagans would permit, because also they wouldn't be allowed to, because they would be sued for copyright infringement. And so you're using your non-profit status to like take this branding and just
wait. Is that really why churches can get away with this stuff?
I think so, yeah, because we're not for profit.
And so they can just do whatever they want.
I think they're like, I assume you couldn't literally just say we're going to replay Die Hard. Like, but like, you know,
I've never thought about that before.
Right.
But I absolutely hate it. Guess what? This is going to appear in the court documents when they try to take away the not-for-profit status of churches.
That you
tax-exempt status of churches, when it's questioned at the Supreme Court level, they will literally put this stuff up there and say, what are they even doing? They're just making money with a bad reenactment of movies. You
did not fair use Die Hard. You didn't play, again, I don't think you should use movie clips in your sermon, but you didn't play a little clip. You used the entirety of the script, screenplay. You strip-minded.
Also, they probably do have the rights, though, because they probably bought this from a company that get the rights from movies to be used in church functions.
Dude,
so they probably do have that. Unfortunately, it makes it worse. It somehow makes it even worse.
If you were like a grip on Die Hard, right? You were like running one of the services and you still get royalties from it. I would love to know if there's a way for us to find out if somehow they're receiving royalties from a sermon writing service that, oh man, it literally might be the case. And they may have done that so that they can't, like, it could be even worse than I thought. It's not just
the Die Hard actors are like getting a check, and it's like, who's still paying us for this stuff?
Dude, the live reenactment royalty, those are huge. Oh, from a Christian service. Okay.
Except they wouldn't even be able to tell because the name of the church is so vague. They would have no idea what it is.
Exactly. Yeah. Oh man. So this has been the first
day. Well, what is that? Some kind of theater company?
That's right. Some strange. Wow. That was so for you today, this December the 25th, there is nothing you need that whatever that service was can give you. I hope you and yours gathering today because you have off work, even if you are just celebrating the first day of the 12 Days of Restless, we hope you do so with those you love. And we hope for the rest of you that you get to celebrate the incarnation of our Lord, which is the most amazing truth, like, to conceive of, which is what makes this so bad. There is the most amazing truth accessible to celebrate, and we did this. So Pastor Michael, join us tomorrow for day 2 of the 12 Days of Restless. We've got some Tullian Chivision coming out of the woodwork. We've got some classic TGC. We've got all kinds of stuff along the way. I am. We may even discuss depopulation because I'm interested in your opinions on those issues. We've got
the 12 days unleashed, restless, unleashed to do whatever we want.
And so we would also like you, if there is still time, we would love to have a yay, nay, or nuance party on day 12 where we just go wild. And as well, I've promised if someone gives me a great name that Pastor Michael and I love for this not Protestant sect of Christianity popular in America, I will be sending you on me some soap, and you'll love it.